Okay, morning traders. I hope we're well today. All right, just type a few things in. Now, it's going to be another short. G'day, Jason. How are you, mate? Nice and short stream. So it's just on the morning playbook, we call it. So it's the 26th of May. Just going to go through a couple of positions we're looking at, a couple that have one that's about to tick off, hopefully. A few that we've been following, and just some setups for the day, just to see what we can come up with. All right, so we'll kick it off. In front of us to get the ball rolling is the pound. So we've been looking at the pound for a while. If you've been tuning in for the last few sessions, the pound, which you've got some longer term support through here, which it did get cleaned out, and then we popped up. And this break of that downtrend is sort of the key thing that I've been watching for the few days. So we did have an alert on it that got cancelled to buy as the market actually rolled over. So we have the two levels, the buy entry and the exit level. If the exit level gets triggered first, it just basically negates the actual entry. So we look like we've got something about to kick off today. So I'd be pretty happy if it can hold and play out. We've got the market. You can see that grind. So I'm using it sort of that secondary move down. So you got the first move down, popped up, and if you expand that volatility leg, we call it, back down, it sort of took you down to the bottom end of that support, which didn't get down to that low, which was somewhere around 120, 121.43, 44. Didn't get down there, but it started to consolidate, and then we started to lift. So we're starting to lift out of this contraction lower and started to project higher. So all goes well. We're in a prime position with a break of that sort of 02, 03, 22, 03 level. I would expect that market to start trading up and potentially just test those highs at 22.88, which gives us some good risk reward, about 80 pips. If it can kick on, you got this leg from high, low to high. You project it out. If this is the base, and we're starting to work off that base, off that key major long-term support, then that leg could expand up to 23.70, say, which leaves us, that's probably another, what does that make it? 170 pips with any luck. Give it just under that. So we'll see how this goes. See if it kicks off today. Now, if it obviously pops down and takes out the support and heads lower, then it negates the entry again. But we'll see what happens there. Now, we've been following on to Ethereum is one we've been alerting to, and Bitcoin. So we'll go over Ethereum first for crypto lovers. G'day, Bobby. Hope you can hear me, mate. Just let me know if it's all okay. You're on both, mate. Covering both bases. No, that's nice. So we alerted this with a bit of a sell-off through 208, and it did get hammered. Turned out quite well. But you can see longer term, you can see it's still holding that uptrend. So this could be all part of that major contraction, which is fine. There was a trade in that, and we alerted to that on TradingView. We didn't actually send out an alert to subscribers. Just actually didn't do that. That kicked off at night, so I missed that. Sorry, unfortunately. But it did kick off nicely if you were following that, since we were talking about it through 208 with your risk at 211. Played out nicely. We had a big contraction back to that 211 zone, thereabouts. I mean, if you were holding that stop then and you didn't take it off once we started building this high low, then you're still pretty much in by the looks of it. We didn't get quite up to 211. Oh, we did. So it would have been a bit of an unfortunate move. But it is still, you can see longer term, we've got a lower high coming into play here. Let's just extend that zone out. Lower high still coming into play. So this really, to me, is all part of a bigger, longer term contraction. Now, if you couple this with Bitcoin, Bitcoin is actually looking like it's rolling over. So it's shown a bit more weakness. You can see we were talking about it, I think, in one of the streams a while ago, around this zone, saying, okay, if we start to head south off this lower high, this zone comes into play and it blasted through that zone. And the next thing would come into play is break of this uptrend, which it's done. Okay, so you've got major move down, major corrective action, holding a key lower high at 93.11, which would lead me to believe we're going to start pushing or making a bit of a push to that 8,500 or even lower, 8,300. And if we do blast through these lows, that Bitcoin's not looking good for in the near term or short term anyway. So just keep an eye on that. If it starts to hold another lower high here, you can put break through those recent higher lows, trade short with your risk just above. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. We'll go on to done pound, done Bitcoin, done Ethereum. So we're going to go over the Hang Seng. So these are trades that actually, we'll just go over that to here. So this was something I was doing yesterday, and I just want to walk through that because it's a good heads up of what we're doing, what we're looking for. Okay, so the Hang Seng opens at 11:15, and you can see the market. It's got that pre-market sort of open. Once the US closes, the Hang Seng opens for another short session before 11:15 when it opens Sydney time. So it's gapped up on the open, and you got to realise the Hang Seng's been in this major downtrend. It's been under some pressure since Friday, when China started talking about Hong Kong, and US is obviously complaining about that. So there's that tensions that have kicked off and pressuring the Hang Seng. Now most markets have bounced back, but what it means is a lot of shorts that could be squeezed out easily, and it wouldn't take them much to get squeezed out of the action. All right, so we did gap up in the open, thrust down through that sort of that morning session lows, took it out and bounced back quite strong. So, I mean, that was a tough one to trade if you were looking at it here. I wasn't quite looking at it there. You did get, I guess, let's just take that out. You did get that move. Okay, just go, there we go. You did get that move. And the nearest thing to a trade, really, I mean, was a bit of a tough one to take. You got the markets extended some from buying opportunity down to sell. Sellers really piling on the pressure, and that got held up. You got this little minor higher low. You could have bought it on a break of that with risk below, but that to me was sort of a hindsight trade. It would have been hard to trade. It's not typically how we trade against momentum, but it is what you're doing is trading the edges of a potential range. So you're looking sort of for that reversion to the mean. So it's a different style of trading, but that was really a legitimate trade, but it's not what I was looking for. Big squeeze up, and then you got the market started to, that price action is a little bit different to something getting sold off quite hard. And the fact that we took out the morning high just from the open in this foul swoop, and even some US sessions, into the close in the US session, took out that, and we started to hold this kind of contractive action. You could see, and each time it moved down, it was with less conviction as we started to get back down to this low, and it started to hold. So what I was looking for when I was watching it, it was more, this was coming into the 2 o'clock close. So the Hang Seng closes at 2 p.m. for an hour and reopens at 3. So I don't like trading it too close if it hasn't got a clear, it's not trending, or if it hasn't got a clear setup coming into that 2 o'clock close, which was, you can see the market pretty much stagnated and pretty much flatlined through there. And then we started to lift right on the open, and then you got this contractive action again. So that contraction there led me to believe we're going to start targeting up towards these highs potentially. All right. So that was the first entry, popped up, and it didn't, if you were watching this action, we're on a 1 minute chart, don't forget. So I don't give it too much room because these things can really turn fast. And you can see that eventually it did. Once we started to, it did kick off, and then it kept pausing, and you could see sellers coming in. Then we'll get bought up, sellers coming in. So I was pretty happy to take that if we got a break of your first candle low, which we did. Took it off, booked about, I think, at 25 points thereabouts, 26 points, and then it did roll over. And then what you saw is the market took out the lows. It did start to hold up again, and we started to ramp up again. So it was fairly choppy all around this action on the open. We got that squeeze up. Okay, I would have expected it to kick on quite strong. I thought it was going to be a lot stronger than that, and it really failed to give me that strength that I wanted to see. So quick to get out. And then we got this secondary action as we start to sit on the MAs again. So same sort of price action we talk about time and time again with shares, with indices, with anything. And that's what I was looking for traded yesterday. Once we started breaking up and out of that contraction again, it was a long, and you could see it was only a minor higher low. We started to tip up, pull back, buy on that break. I was breaking this candle actually, break here, and then started to pop up. Once we started getting a bit of weakness, then once you sit and you're up about 40 or so points and you start to get weakness, because that Hang Seng could really go like a rocket, and if it doesn't, it can tend to get a bit choppy. So I was happy again to do the same sort of thing. Here, break that candle out and let it rally without me. So that was a shame. But they were the two setups that I traded yesterday on the Hang Seng. So we've got the pound. We've gone on we'll get over to, here we go. This is the Hang Seng. You can see the action that potentially for today, we've come down to this low, and this is an hourly chart. We've pushed up with that low a bit yesterday, and remember the US was closed last night. US and the FTSE was closed, so there wasn't a lot to go off, and the Hang Seng was just holding below those lows. So there is a key level, or a level that could provide some resistance at 23, or just above 2300, 2310, say 2320. Now, if that breaks, I'll be looking for that first pullback. Now, this is being an hourly, it could take some time to work out. It may not be even in this session, or might be later in tonight's session. But if you get that break up through and the first pullback starts to stick at a higher level, then that could lead to a good little rally and a flush of all these shorts that are built up. All right, so that's the Hang Seng. We'll just get over to the Dow. What could be playing out there? Now, we spoke about this yesterday in the stream yesterday. Went for about an hour. And feel free to join us on that stream if you're watching this and you're not part of the action with TradeSetup. You can always join in the stream at 12:30 on a Monday. That's Sydney time, where we just go through a few different things and setups and what we're looking at for the day and longer term as well. So this is the mini, and you can see it's got some support, which it flushed out at around 22,780. It's popped back up to the highs at around 24,780 as well, and it's been consolidating. We've got a little minor inside support level at 24, say 100. Okay, this minor inside support level, which is sticking at the moment. So to me, that leads me to believe longer term we're gonna break up and through, and the markets look like they want to go. Okay, you can see by the DAX last night up 300 points. They're sort of brushing aside the negative data and they're looking at positive at the moment. Now I think it's sort of getting set up for it's going to rally, and then if we start getting those COVID-19 numbers lifting again as everyone comes out, that's going to spook the market a bit, and I would expect to see a bit of a sell-off on the back of that. If I expect it to happen, it may not, but I do expect once you start getting people mingling again, I can't see why those numbers won't lift again in infection rates. So either way, I would expect the markets to keep rallying until that news comes out. We're still looking at we're not anywhere near a virus. What is it? It's a cure, a vaccine. So I don't think that's going to support the market in the shorter term. But either way, it's trade what you see, and the market's going up. And you can see by last night's action and previous night's action that big sell-off Friday, we bounced straight back from that, and we're back through that highs, back up to those highs. So the mini looks like it wants to go as well. They should open up tonight, I would expect, and start to trade higher, just being back on, based on the positivity in the European session from last night. Right, so that's the mini. We'll just quickly see if we can get onto the ASX. So again, we spoke about this yesterday. I was looking for that. That was the Friday night. So the Friday day session pushed down to those lows at 54.86. Am I on the SPY? I'm on the SPY Direct. So sorry, let's just go to. So that's the SPY. If you want to trade the SPY Direct, it's pretty much mirrors the SPY futures contract point for point, whereas the index is slightly different pricing, but the price action is exactly the same. So what we're looking at, excuse me. All right, what we're looking at, I just realized I had it on mute, so it's been going through TradingView, but not coming through. Is the sound okay on the YouTube? Bobby, Jason, is it coming through okay? Would expect that it is, but we'll see. Okay, so on the ASX 200, we're looking at this as a bit of a rejection zone. It did wash out that zone and start to reject. And I was watching that. The price action into that zone was quite controlled. It wasn't fear-driven. So it looks like we had a good little bounce, and the market lifted from there. It was a bit of a tough gig to get an entry, and I think the only real pullback was just that red candle, that one red candle on the hourly chart, to buy on a break of that and then see if you can lift it. But that was in the European and US session on Friday, and we've got that push up through from Monday, and it just continued on last night along with the DAX. So we are stretched at the moment. It'd be interesting to see if we can pop up through those highs and what we do today. But we've opened up, we've opened around where we closed this morning. I wouldn't be surprised if we have a bit of a clean out of some of these longs, clean them out and then reset to go again before the US opens tonight. But either way, I think the ASX is going to open up positive today, another 30, 40, 50 points, and then just see what happens from there. I think either way, the ASX is looking quite positive. Looks like it wants to go up with the rest of the markets, and everyone is risk on at the moment. So that's pretty much it. I don't see much action on the, look at the SPY. I don't see much action on the SPY 200 just at the moment. I want to see something to work off. I want to see a bit of a pullback to flush out some of these longs from overnight and see if we get a higher low to work off. Otherwise, it could just hover around there and then sell off all day. We'll just have to see how it goes. We'll sell off late in the session. Anyway, thanks for joining me, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Just remember, if you like what you see, feel free to join us on on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. And you can jump on our website. So if you're on TradingView, you'll see all the details on our profile on our website. And subscribe. There'll be a link up there soon, like I mentioned yesterday, regarding mail outs. So that we'll send out some newsletters. We're going to start to do that once or twice a week. So remember to subscribe to that. And yeah, that's about it. So anyway, thanks very much, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye.